This book is by Jen Turner. It is titled To Steal, Kill, and Destroy in this game called Love. It is an urban erotica. I will say, off rip, there was a spicy scene, and I was like, you know what? The title did justice. It definitely it had an erotica aspect to it. Now, it was funny because there were so many different aspects of this book where I was like, I get where you're coming from. Let's just say you're working this job. Everything's going good. You've been working there for some years. One day you get called into a meeting and you're expecting, like, okay, maybe they're going to want to review a few things. There's two people in there that you know, and there's another person that you don't. Please tell me why these people decided they're firing you, not because you did something wrong, but we want to have somebody here with experience and a college degree. And you're like, but I've done been here for 18 years. I done trained the people that you guys have coming in. Let me know in the comments what it would take to stop you from burning the building down before you left. Because I done worked here for 18 years. And now you guys are firing me for someone that's fresh out of college. They're like, we want someone with a certain kind of experience. What more experience are you going to get than 18 years of experience? So now what happens is you have to go and downsize everything. You have to downsize your house. If you and your wife have two, three cars, y'all might have to only have one car now. And that's really hard to adjust to, not only as a married couple, but also when you have a teenage daughter that's accustomed to living a certain way. They move into this new area, and not to say like they don't move to the trenches, but they have moved to an area where there's certain things going on that their daughter just is not quite used to being around. Okay, Trinity isn't used to seeing young men just running around by the pool outside the house with their shirt off and tattoos on their arm. And y'all know what picture I'm painting. Trinity is very in the house bred. That's the girl don't know too much. She don't know too much. So to be around all of that, there's this one young man named Vaughn that catches her eye. If my daughter ever comes to me and says she's dating someone named Vaughn, we're moving the same week, because I've never met a well-behaved Vaughn. When I think of a Vaughn, my first thought is always, okay, this boy probably won't behave like King Vaughn. I don't want my daughter dating anyone with Vaughn in their name, because it young boys named Vaughn just make me think of those kids with the silver caps in their mouth, and they were always bad as hell, and everybody was always like, you might want to watch out for that boy. That is exactly what happens with the Vaughn in this book. Is there is an older lady in the area, and she tells Trinity, like, I know you think you like that young man. You might want to watch out for him. I promise you, something's not right with him. Something's not good with him. The author did a great job of touching on mental illness and the importance of taking your medication in this book, and the ways that when people decide they're not going to take their medication, it doesn't only affect them, it affects everybody around them. Sometimes that medication not only helps to treat the main illness that you're dealing with, but some of those underlying symptoms like aggression and anger, and how that helps you to stop from lashing out. There is like a trigger warning aspect in this book of there is some talk about like domestic violence at some points. I really enjoyed all of the different aspects of it. There is a boxer in this book. His name is Jordan Tank Booker. I thought that his story was so interesting because he's fighting, and he's in the boxing ring to make his mother proud, who has passed away now. The way some of these people be antagonizing each other before some of these boxing matches, that would be enough for me to try and really knock your head off your shoulders the first round. Because to disrespect my deceased mother before the fight, weeks before the fight, that's gonna make me train just as hard. And I low key want to sneak a brick into my boxing glove. Because why would you take it that far? It's not that serious. There gets to a point where a situation arises, Tank makes a mistake. He is at the beginning of losing it all. When I say his girlfriend was like, listen here, Papi Chulo, I don't do broke. I'm out. And it was so funny because you will hear so many black men say, oh, I'm about to leave you black women alone. I left you black women alone in 2015. Y'all want to hold a man down. I went and got me a snow bunny. I went and got me a Latina because they're different and they treat me like a king. They're not about to sit in the trenches with you, my boy. Quite frankly, no woman wants to sit in the trenches with you. But when I say this lady got her stuff and dipped, I mean, the boy didn't get the bad news and she stayed for a week. Sis was like, I kind of sort of had my bag pre-packed because I had a feeling they was finna walk your behind up out of here. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, dang, you don't got a word of encouragement for him. You're not gonna lift up his spirit. Sis was over it. I really enjoyed reading about the different characters in this book. There was a nice friend girl friendship that was developed as well. I said, yes, girl power. I love to see it. There were so many different aspects of this book that made you feel good. There were some that made you be like, dang, that's sad. I feel like there were enough different tropes that were lined up in this book. Everybody can find at least one character that they're going to relate to, feel bad for, feel like, bro, why did you handle this situation that way? This was a really good book. You can go ahead and head to Amazon and get your copy. I want to say the book was less than $5. I know it's under 250 pages. It was a good paced book. I believe when I read it, it said it took about 4.5, maybe 5 hours and 20 minutes or so, depending on what pacing you listen to the assistive reader in Kindle. Well, y'all be listening, what pace do y'all be on? Because I'll be honest, some books I do listen to them at that 1.75 or the 2 times speed because I want to really, I'd be like, okay, I can hear faster. Originally, I am a New Yorker, so I'm used to talking fast. I like to hear fast too, because I really want to get to the meat and potatoes of it. I don't mind the fluff and stuff at the beginning. This book didn't start off with fluff and stuff. The book straight out the gate. It was like, listen, I said I was an erotica. Now what you trying to do? That is exactly how this book went. I was like, okay, all right, Jen Turner, you don't put me on to something new. I really, really enjoyed this book. This was definitely a 5-star read for me because there were times where I would put the book down to go and do something else, and I would come back and be like, all right, let me hurry up and listen to the book. All right, I'm on the drive here. Let me go ahead and listen to the book. And I like when I read books like that because it gets you excited about it. If a book is so linear that I can predict what's going to happen next, I really feel like by the 10th chapter, I don't really give a dang how the book ends. This was not that kind of book. I feel like there was representation of different ethnicities in this book, different sexual identities in this book as well. It touched on so many different things, and I will say it showed how everybody handles bad news and bad circumstances differently. While some people can pick up and move across the country or move across the state and we're going to rebuild, we're going to whatever. Some people, when they experience a fall for grace, they might kill somebody behind. You try to do what to me? Not everybody handles things the same, and that's why you got to be careful with people. Be careful how you handle people because you never know what bad news they just got yesterday. The same way you just sat here and cussed somebody out because you feel like, why would you bag up my groceries this way? That grocery store worker, their parent might have just died 2 hours ago, but they're at work because they have to keep food on the table for their family. Please be mindful of how y'all talking to people. Please be mindful of the way that you're interacting with people. You never know where people are mentally. We always say, oh my God, people are crazy. Do you know how many people you walked by today that was off their meds? Be careful how you handle people, even if it's someone where you feel like, oh, I done known this person for years. She ain't like that. He ain't about that. That ain't no street nigga. You'll be surprised with some mental illness and how life starts life, and you'll be surprised what it'll bring about to somebody. Please be careful with people. This was a very good book. I can't wait to see what else this author has out. You guys can always head over to my website at allsbrooks.com to hire me to be your book promoter, book marketer, to talk about your books and to get your books on a digital billboard. My book, My Favorite Ex, is still free on Amazon, Barnes& and Nobles, and a bunch of other platforms for free. Let me know if you guys have checked out any of these books, and I look forward to seeing you in the next book review.